Hey, what's up guys? I'm going to do something a little different in this video. I'm away from home right now. I don't have any of my editing software on my computer. I've got quite a few clips on my phone that I wanted to share from the storm over the last few days. So I'm just kind of doing a screen record. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but we're going to give it a try. I'm just kind of going into my phone here. We'll go onto my videos, all kinds of stuff here. Some of you may have seen this first clip from a few nights ago. This was one of the very first calls of the storm before things got really bad. There was a branch laying across the primary and triplex. I was able to clear that with sticks and gloves. I was by myself. There was a few crews in the area, and I explained in the video that the triplex is about to fall to the ground. So it was still up in the air, held on by one of the hots, and using stick and rubber gloves, I was able to get that jumper on to make sure there was continuity from the broken neutral. And then using my rubber gloves, I put on a set of come-alongs onto the line you can see here to keep it from falling down. And then there was a crew close by, so he ended up coming on site, and we actually sleeved that through and got the power back on for those 40 or so customers. So moving on through the night, this is one of the next calls. The line never kicked. A fairly big tree was laying on the primary. The fire department standing by at this one here.
So I got the line dumped there now. Power's out. That's a pretty big tree. That's not something I'm going to tackle just with hot sticks and rubber gloves. That fire just went out before I hit record, but it's raining very hard right now, so there's no worry of any fire hazard.
So just cutting out the volume of that clip. Most of the calls on our storms, as I explained in a video on how we restore power, we're bouncing around following emergency personnel, fire department, police. We're basically securing the scene in a lot of these situations. I had a ton of calls that night where there was mostly trees and branches on the line. I'd simply show up and shut off the power. I wasn't going to stick around and start clearing those job sites. Right there, I actually put a tag on the switch identifying the fault location, and basically there's a ton of crews in the area. So when crews roll up to these switches, I mean, that tree, it was impossible to miss. But that tag, it's kind of like working with tag. It goes on the switch saying do not close, but then for the reasoning, I had tree on primary with the exact pole number. I ended up returning myself the next day, which I do have a few clips on, where we do remove the tree. This is another bad one here.
This is a massive tree blocking the road. So I got the call from the fire department. Tree blocking off one lane completely, and then the wires were down going across the road. Thankfully this one here, it was triplex. Can certainly be just as dangerous. The fire truck, you can see off in the distance, they had the road blocked off. And what happened was when the tree fell, it tore the triplex right off the pole and peeled the blacks. You can see the blacks are peeled all the way back to here. So I opened the transformer, that's de-energized now. And what I did, I cut the blacks. That's still about 15 feet off the ground, so nobody can touch that. I left the exact length, so when the crew comes back, they can run the blacks over to the pole, and then it's just a matter of running a new loop across the street over to that service pole, which somehow didn't break. Very lucky. So oftentimes, when we're doing storm calls, during the storm, we drive around basically making sure the scenes are safe. I've got so many fire calls on my computer right now. Even if it's a quick job, we don't often take the time to fix it unless it's just a matter of knocking a branch off to pick up.
So I just go on there explaining the same thing I did a few moments ago. This next call here, I'll turn the audio on.
This died down a lot. We were hitting 90k gusts for maybe 2 hours. Straight light is aligned in me. The primary's still energized here. it's not a high current fault. Earlier when it was raining, I guess it was flaring up quite bad. But can't leave that, it's touching the ground. It's a residential area, we don't want a kid going and trying to climb the tree.
So this particular call here, a fairly large tree, but the branches are pretty small. If there wasn't a lot of other calls in the system, I could have taken hot stick and gloves. I still would have opened the line, which I don't think I show in this clip. I end up just going and opening the line and leaving it. But I could have opened the line and cleared a lot of those small branches with sticks and gloves. This call was only affecting, I think it was 11 customers. So we sent a crew there first thing in the morning. They were in and out of that job pretty quick. You don't want to leave, even though the power was on, you don't want to leave something like that energized. It's probably 3 or 4 in the morning at this point. And come daylight, when the storm's passed, it's a residential area, that tree is making contact with the ground, so it poses a hazard to the public. So stuff like that, you absolutely cannot leave energized once it's discovered. This call here, I showed a quick clip of this on Instagram. This was a good one. The fire department called me directly. They had the call in the system already, but the system was just flooded with so many calls. They called my phone. I think it was about 4:30 in the morning at this point, not too far from that other call. Pole snapped. The reason the pole snapped is because this tree on the ground here landed on the triplex. And it's a fairly new pole. I was quite surprised it did snap, but everything stayed energized. So that 3-phase when I arrived was all still energized. There was a few other hazards. This triplex here going across the road, it was no longer energized. It ripped right off the bushing. So the transformer, that's what's dangling there. The smaller line, that's telephone wires. If a large truck had passed, it definitely would have caught the telephone for sure, maybe the triplex. There was actually a resident area that blocked the road with her car from a safe distance away until the fire trucks got there. So that was a good one. I was able to cut that triplex clear. I had to go back here. Totally lost that. But here's a shot that was on Instagram. But what I did was I put a set of come-alongs on the triplex, cut it so there wouldn't be a sudden release of tension, and slowly lowered that to the ground. I opened the line as well, of course, and there was another set of triplex going to that pole off in the distance. So we cut all the wire clear, coiled everything up, opened the line, and I sent an email to the office where they sent a crew first thing the next morning. This is that clip here. I just thought it was kind of neat on Instagram at the first glance. It looks like everything's fine. You zoom away and yeah, she's broke. So this is the following night. I was on the night shift for the whole storm and I had a fellow with me for the night there. We tackled that tree. We were able to restore power to about 45 customers. Check out my cones. I did get a set of those Pilot cones, or Pilot. I did a video probably 2 months ago mentioning that we saw them at the Utility Expo. And I really wanted to get a set for the truck, so I finally got those, which is pretty cool. So we're moving this tree. I'm not sure how long this clip is, 24 seconds. Let's move on to the next one. When you're moving a tree off a line like this, first thing you do, shed all the weight. So I'm just going to skip through it a little bit, but he's just slowly removing all the weight from the line. You can see we do have the line grounded here. There was no need for a bond to the pole because he was working mid-span. But he's slowly just kind of picking away at that tree. And you never touch a branch with tension. So that branch right there, he wasn't going to cut that. And then right at the primary as well, of course. So you can see how much is on the tree. And if I fast forward here, I'm just going to go blow through this. He gets to this point here. Let's just pause the video. This is the point you want to get to when removing a tree from the lines, where the pressure point is on that little branch, on the neutral, as well as on the primary. You can see how much burning was going on there from the night before. And at that point, you kind of reassess and try to figure out the easiest way to release tension. So we figured there wasn't a whole lot of tension on the lines. So on the next clip, you can just see keeping his distance, keeping himself out of the line of fire. He just does an undercut and releases that tension somewhat slowly. It is gonna fly off here a little bit aggressively, but as I mentioned, he is out of the line of fire and there's still quite a bit of weight on the telephone, folds back. And then that final cut I did from the ground and then just dropped the tree. That was a piece of, cut my glove there. Tiny little fiber drop was under a ton of tension under a tree. And when we released it, that's why we wear cut-proof gloves. She cut my glove a bit, but didn't go through my hand at all. I didn't have quite as much footage as I thought in the video, but this was a really cool job. I really wish I had got a shot while this branch was still intact. But this branch here, we've got it shaved off quite a bit. Initially, it was, if you look at there's two V's in the tree. The first V on the smaller branch, that was hung up on the primary, and that was hanging, it was making contact with the primary and the ground, and it was directly over top of that shed that was off to the side. So we had a really cool setup here. We had a block at the butt of the pole, one at the top of the pole, and when we go over the other side of the tree, I think I take a look at it here in a moment. Let's just back that up a little bit. So where that rope is holding the tree, you can see it going way up high to another tree, higher than the primary. We weren't able to make any cuts in the tree whatsoever. Well, we could have, but it would have definitely damaged that fellow's shed. It would have come right down on top. So using a pulley system, we were able to use a throw line and catch in between that second crotch, right where the rope's going through there now. And we transferred the weight off the primary onto that rope using the come-alongs. Also, the rope on the right-hand side was positioned higher than on the left. So as we transferred the weight, we were able to use our hot sticks and slide it down the rope away from that shed. It's a really cool job. And then as we lowered it, like right here, you can see it's starting to get close to the shed again. So with most of the weight on that, we were able to kind of muscle it around and drag it away from the shed. At which point, if I go to this last clip, you can see where the block is set up again. One click at a time, we were able to release and lower that entire branch all the way to the ground. One click at a time, very slowly and methodically, without damaging the fellow's shed. So I guess that's pretty much all I had. So you can flip the camera around here again. And yeah, the wifey is in the kitchen doing some final preps. I gotta join her, finish things off. We're going to the in-laws for supper in the new year. I'll have lots of great stuff, lots of really good requests for videos, including longer video. One guy said, I don't care if you're pounding a staple into the pole doing the butt ground. They want, a lot of people want longer videos. We're gonna do that for you guys. So probably won't see you for the next couple days. As I mentioned, I'm away from home. So Merry Christmas to everyone. See y'all soon.